record on this. I'm going to go mute. And
You've got a multiple screen up.
oh, that looks okay, right?
Yeah.
Got it now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go mute and Robbie's going to let him in.
Right now, all they see is the, but I think we're live, so.
My, oh my, welcome back everybody. What a day it's been already. And we've got more things coming up today and a full day tomorrow. We've got some interesting things and you know, this is called the Fly by the Seat of Your Pants Bird Festival. And some of our plans work out well and some of them don't. So we're just doing our best. So right now we're really happy because things are working out. Tom and Peggy are here and they are ready to talk to us about Owl Box building. But let me do a little bit of what do we call it? Housekeeping first. We are recording these videos and we will make them available pretty soon. They will be up on the Morro Bay Winter Bird Festival website today, tomorrow, the next day. As soon as we can get it together, we'll put those up. We also will have some question and answer period at the end. If you've got a question and answer, you know, send that to everybody and we will get those questions. And at the end, we're going to try to do something different. We've never done this before. We're going to try something. We are going to do an auction. So if you would like to help the Bird Festival, this is kind of a fundraiser auction. Yeah, you're going to get an owl box out of it, but really it's a fundraiser to try to keep the Bird Festival going next year. Somebody says they're not hearing me. Let me see. Bob, if you could just let me know if you hear my audio.
You're good to go. It's
Okay, good job. Okay, so here we go. If you would like to help the Bird Festival, Bird in person next year, we're taking donations, even though all of these things are free. So feel free to make a donation to the website by the email or by the special QR codes you'll see at the end of the program. So let's get started because I'm really interested in all this bird box stuff because I like to work with wood. I like to do things and I really like owls. So this is kind of, you know, right up my alley. So I'm really looking forward to it. So today we have a couple of presenters, a husband-wife team, and I'm looking forward to that because Peggy Burns, she's a certified California naturalist, which, you know, makes my heart go pitter patter because I love that program. She's also a master gardener. She's an avid citizen science and has counted snowy plovers, least terns, banded birds, collected spiders, monitored black oyster nests, and she participates in bird counts and she posts her finds on iNaturalist. All those things get her a pat on the back from me, let alone the fact that she does stuff with eBird. She also volunteers with the California State Parks, Cal Poly Herbarium, Morro Bay Winter Bird Festival, California Native Plant Society, et cetera, and she likes to spend time with monarch butterflies in Pismo, sea otters with Morro Bay, and I hear she also likes to spend time with her husband, Tom, in Arroyo Grande. Now, Tom, Mr. Toolbox Tom, he's going to be with us in just a second. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Does he look like a tool man or not? So this is Tom the tool man with his friend Owl, not Al, but Owl. And so he's been a hobbyist woodworker since his first woodworking class in junior high. And he really likes making quality furniture, but he's also been doing owl boxes and bird boxes because he's got a wife. And his wife loves to attract wildlife. And so happy wife, happy life, that's the way it works. So he's turned his hobbies into a cheap way to keep his marriage together. And that's a really good thing. So we're going to talk about owl boxes and he might even build one in front of our very eyes. I don't know, we'll see. And then at the end, you'll have your chance to support the Bird Festival and get an owl box. So Tom and Peggy, I'm going to get off the phone and leave it to you. Take it away from here.
Okay, great. I'll stop video here on there so we can just Focus on Tom, and Tom, take it away. I know you only got short time to put a box together.
Okay, good afternoon, birders and woodworkers. Today we're going to be assembling an owl box using these plans, which are available on the bird website.
Nestwatch.org.
Thank you. You can set those aside. So we were planning, of course, on doing this in person. So we had already cut all the wood for the box. So you won't be seeing that part today, but we will be doing the assembly. Before we start on that, a word about safety. I am wearing eye protection. Parts of the day I'll be using ear protection for hearing. Also, I'm not wearing any loose clothing and I'm not wearing any rings. That's my sort of standards for working in the shop. You want to work safely. Also, I have sturdy footwear. I'm not barefoot or wearing flip-flops, and I have not had any alcohol today. So I would encourage you all just to work safely. So here are a couple of components of the box. This is actually the front of the box. You can see it, of course, the hole for entrance and egress for the owls. 3 little grooves here that are in the plywood for the talons to grip as the bird's coming in and out of the box. It's 3/4 inch exterior plywood. Now, if you're going to make one yourself, you need to use exterior plywood because it uses a glue that is waterproof. If you use interior plywood or something you have lying around the house that you aren't sure what it is, it could delaminate when exposed to water and the whole thing will fall apart. So you want exterior, and you also want 3/4 inch. Plywood comes in all sorts of widths, anywhere from 1/4 inch all the way up to more than 1 inch. But 3/4 inch will give you enough beef in it to hold the screws that we're going to use. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to lay the front on its face, and here is the bottom, and we have to measure to put in a divider inside, and I'll show you in a minute what that's going to do. So I'm using a jig, and woodworkers use jigs for all sorts of things, either for measuring or positioning pieces when you're going to cut. And what I'm going to do, this jig is just the right width, so when I align it with the edge of the bottom, I can draw a line, and also the edge of the front, I can draw a line with the pencil. And I want to draw a second line, the thickness of a sheet of plywood. So it's a 3/4 inch set of parallel lines. And I'll show you why I'm doing that in a second. And then lastly, this piece which will go inside, I'm going to draw another line here to show where it ends and put an X there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes through the plywood in the front, 3 holes in the front and 1 in the bottom. And that's to position screws that'll come in from the other side. So let me put on my ear protection. And you want to be about 2 or 3 inches up and in the center of the 2 parallel lines. One about in the center, one up near the top. And then here on the bottom, I'm going to put one right here. This is as far as that divider went. I'm going to put one right about here, which will be the far end. Now, again, this may look a little confusing, but once I start putting the box together, you'll understand the importance of that. So let me just show you the 3 pieces, how the box goes together. It's going to fit together like this. So this is the front, the end, and the bottom. And I'm going to screw these things together. So what I'm going to do before I do that is I'll turn them around because I'm right-handed, so you can better see what I'm doing. Front will go over here, and then the side will go over here like this. Make sense so far?
Is that the outside?
What, dear?
Is that the outside?
Oh, thank you, dear. Yes.
This is why he has me.
This is why I have it. Yes, thank you. I think I would have caught that. Okay. Then I'm going to apply some wood glue to this one joint here. Now, this is a exterior wood glue, Type Bond 3. It's one I happen to like a lot. Once it's dried, it is waterproof. You can soak it in water and it will not come undone. Your normal white Elmer's glue will, if exposed to enough water, eventually weaken and fail.
Show me the bead.
So there's the bead. what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down. I'm going to quickly put this up like this. Now, what I'm going to do is right up at the top, holding these things flush like that. I'm going to drill a hole through. Then I'm going to use a screw. Now, these are exterior 1 5/8 inch deck screws. There we go. So now it's screwed in. Now I go down to the bottom. I line it up carefully so that it's flush. And screw it in. Notice how the glue squeezes out. Now I'll drill 2 more holes. I don't want to drill one here because the screw would come out the hole. So I'm going to drill one right around here and one up here. And add 2 more screws. So now that is in there good. It's never going to come out. And now the reason you use the glue is actually what's going to keep this joint all together. I'm going to wipe it off a little bit with a dampened rag just for appearance's sake. But this is a nice strong joint that'll last as long as the box. So now I need to put the bottom without dropping it. So I'm going to line it up here. And you notice it comes short because the back will fit in up against this piece. So now what I'm going to do is put glue on this edge of the bottom and this edge of the bottom and lay it in right in here. So we get some more glue. Don't be afraid to be generous with the glue. If it squeezes out, you can wipe it off. And it fits right in there. And then I will take this and that. Another screw. Come down to the bottom, make sure it's nice and flush there at the bottom. Drill another hole. Another screw. So, and then I will add 2 more. And of course, your plywood piece here is 3/4 of an inch thick. So when I'm drilling, I want to try and get the screw right in the middle of this space, because otherwise it won't go into the center of the bottom, right? Because you want it in the center of that wood in the bottom for maximum strength. Otherwise, you could split the plywood. So thank you, dear. Okay, now was probably the hardest part because you had to hold these pieces while putting them all together. As we add pieces, each successive piece will become easier. Now, of course, I have to attach the bottom to the front. So let me show you that. See, the bottom is a little shorter because another piece fits in there. So I'm just going to borrow another piece, put it in here. That allows it to rest and make it all nice and solid. So that way I can screw down through the top here. Add screws. And then I come down to this end, and there's some holes in the bottom for drainage, so I don't want to drill into that. So I'll bring this back a few inches. And the nice thing about these screws, this yellow coating, they're exterior, made for decks. They're not going to rust out. And another, probably, you can see you don't need to measure. The birds aren't picky, and unless you're trying to put this in town and country or something, no one's going to come out and measure it as far as the spacing. Just whatever.
Well, when they see the second part, when they get to meet our owls, they'll see they're very fashion conscious.
Okay. So now we have it 3 sides already done. So now the divider. Now the divider has a real purpose because it sits in here right where we drew these lines. No coincidence, like that. And that's to keep, if you've got some critter on the outside like a raccoon or squirrel reaching in and grabbing the young owls, see? So they can hide behind here, or mom or dad can be here and defending the nest.
It also keeps the light out of the nest area as well.
There you go. Okay, so the divider is an important part. Now, put it in might be a little tricky. If you didn't know exactly where to screw through, you could sort of try and eyeball it, but as you get way down here, you're sort of looking and saying, well, is it straight or is it not? But the jig, which is just a piece of scrap plywood, helps us out. As I put that there, notice how it lines up with the line. Of course, that's no accident because we drew the line like that. That just holds it nice and snug. So that way, knowing I can drill through the hole, I can put the screws in the holes we already drilled, and it'll go right into the center of this board.
Nice.
Peachy keen, huh?
Peachy,
Okay.
peachy.
So now I'm putting glue on the divider on the bottom and on one side. And I just snug it right in there. And then I get some screws. Now I do need to hold this snug against this when I screw this in. Then I find the hole that I drilled. See, it snugs it right up. Actually, what I should do is drill back through the other way. Create a little hole in the divider. Where's the last hole? Right there. Make it easier for the screw to go in. Okay. Okay, so now that's in there, and then put this down. I'll put it here, and then I flip this up on its side. And remember that one hole we drilled in the bottom, which is, again, low, right here. And the reason you put it way out here is so that thing won't wiggle. If I put the hole way down here, then this could move. But if it's way up towards this end, it'll keep this thing from moving back and forth and weakening that joint. So it's going to give the owls the maximum protection, make that joint stronger. So then I will, again, pressing down here. We're done with the jig. We will not need it again. Now you can, when this glue is wet, you can clean it up a little bit. Doesn't really matter on the inside because only the owls are going to see it. You're not going to paint the inside or do anything else. But if you want to be tidy, you can. On the outside, you probably should wipe it off because you are going to paint or do something to the outside. So now we have the box partially complete. Now the box has two moving pieces. One is a top and the other one is the side. So we're going to start with the top here first. Actually, yes. And it's going to screw, you're going to screw it into the end, the front, and also another one in the divider here. Make that nice and strong and also further anchor the divider. So rather than put the glue on this, I will just put the glue on the top. And I know it's going to be exactly where I want it. Lay this down, and you want to try and keep it still and aligned so that the box remains nice and square. That looks pretty good. So I will drill down here. This one goes in the front. Now here's a woodworking tip. Don't just go linearly along like this, because if you're out of alignment over here, you won't know it till you get all the way to the end. So what I like to do is pin both ends with a screw and then work towards the center, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
We do that in sewing too.
oh, okay. Then probably
So you're putting 4 on the long end and 2 on the short end?
2 on the short end, and then I'll put 1 in the divider.
Okay.
Around. You see the divider here. What I'm going to do is I want to put 1 again, not over here where it doesn't get much mechanical advantage, but right out near the end. Not too close to the end, because you worry about splitting this or causing the plywood to come apart. So maybe about 1 inch in. And the screws I'm putting in are more than enough to hold everything. More screws is not necessarily better. You're just, it's really not necessary. Between the glue and the screws and the inherent strength of the plywood, you're building something that's going to last for decades if it's well taken care of. So then, put it up like this. And I think the next thing we will add is the back. And it's going to fit in just like that. So I have to put on some glue here. And then on the back itself, we'll glue up here and on this edge. Oops. Just like that. Okay. Nice. So here I just hold this up so that the top is flush, or the back is flush with the edge of the top. You don't want it down. You don't want it too high up. Just nice and flush like that. I'll drill a hole. See, I'll pull it away a little bit, but the screw will tighten that up. Go. Then I come this corner. Thank you, dear. And along this edge. You can see that way down here at the end, see how the bottom is sort of underneath the top. So I'm gonna have to move the bottom, move the top a little bit. So again, it's nice and flush. I drill my hole. So you get that where you want it, then you lean on it hard to hold it in place. And the before you let up the pressure, put in a screw to hold it. There we go. Now, just in the interest of time, I'm not going to put in the rest of the screws here or here. I'll come back and do that after the workshop is over, because we want to get to a couple more pieces to show you how to put that together. So there's only 3 more to go. We'll start with the other end piece. Now
Oh, someone's asking why isn't the top made of one piece of plywood like the bottom?
Because it is going to move, and I will get to that in a moment, but that's a very good question. So what I'm going to do now, I have a little stand over here, put it down here so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. The end is also 2 pieces because each the top and the end each have a door that's going to be hinged, so you can clean the box out. Because once you with the glue and the screws, those joints are never going to come apart. So you have to be able to get into the box, and you can't really get in through just the hole. So you need to have ways to get in to clean it out. So now I'm going to apply glue to this end, which is fixed. And so I'm making a mark here so I know how far to run the glue line down those 2 ends of the box, like that. And then I will put it on there. I will secure one edge of the end. And again, it's really handy now because it's a little lower. I can lean on it and sort of hold everything in place while I do the assembly. Now, then I go up to the opposite corner. Again, see, it's a little misaligned, so I've got to move that until it's nicely aligned. Then I lean on it hard to keep it from going anywhere. Put that in there. Add to everything. Here. Okay. So now bring this back up to where you can get a little closer so you can see it. So now we're going to finish the top. Now the top does not get glued or screwed, and the top has these 2 little slots in it. I'll explain what those do in a moment. Essentially, the top fits on there, and I like to make the top with a little bit of an overhang, and I'll explain why in a minute. The top's going to go on with hinges.
Regular door hinges?
These are interior door hinges. Now let me speak about those for a moment. Reason we're using those for the box is, one, they're nice and heavy duty, but they are interior. But we were trying to keep the prices of the boxes down for the workshop, and interior hinges are a lot cheaper than, less expensive, I should say, than some of the smaller hinges. Also, because you're going to paint over them, they should last fine outside. If you live near the ocean, and I mean really close to the ocean, you might want to consider galvanized or stainless steel. But for what these are, we can get these a lot cheaper than what you can get, what you could get for a similar galvanized or stainless steel hinge. So I have pre-drilled some holes there for the hinges. And I am putting them in with some stainless steel screws. Reason I'm using those is because the screws that come with the hinges are a little too long and they would stick through the inside. So I happen to have these shorter 3/4 inch stainless steel screws.
And now the instructions that you were talking about that we got from nestwatch.org, they tell everyone how to cut the pieces of wood that you've already
They do.
done. Is that
It
correct?
comes with a measured diagram.
Okay. And with the drain holes, he's mentioned there's drain holes in the bottom.
I will show them that in a second. Yes.
Okay, and those are pre-drilled before we started building the box.
That is true. Yes. Is that a question someone had?
No, I'm just making
Oh, okay.
things, that just in case we run out of time, I don't want to, we got 15 minutes to go, so I just want to
Okay.
make sure that we cover everything.
I'm not putting all the screws and the hinges, but I'll put the others in a little bit. So now
Okay.
this obviously opens and shuts. Here are the drain holes in the bottom, you can see, and I've drilled one in each of the 4 corners, plus one on either side of the divider. The reason for that is, as much as you might try, or me, it's virtually impossible to get the bird box perfectly level in the air. And so it's going to sit a little bit off canter, and then any water that gets inside is going to drain to one of the corners, and you want to have it, or flow to one of the corners. You want to have a way for it to drain out,
Mhm.
so that doesn't rot out the wood. So now we have a top that hinges,
Mhm.
and you'll only be opening that probably about once a year when you clean out the box. But you need some way to secure it, because otherwise the wind could catch it, or a raccoon or other critters could pry it up. So we have these little L hooks, 1/8 of an inch diameter, about 1.5 inches long, and they're going to fit in the slots. And you just turn them 90 degrees, and they will keep it shut. And the one on the side works the same way.
Mhm.
Now, I like to use a drill bit that's a little smaller diameter than the interior of the threads, so we'll still have plenty of purchase. And then I just, going down right through the slot, I just drill straight down. And I can screw this in. Usually get it started by hand. And after a while, it will become a little more difficult. So I found the perfect tool for that is an adjustable wrench, or sometimes called a crescent wrench. And you can just spin it around and it will tighten up. Takes a little while, but it's going.
So while you're doing that, since we are getting in a close on time, let's talk about, well, when you're done, you're going to paint it with exterior primer. And I have a slide on that, and we're gonna mention that, but you want to paint the whole thing, including the hinges.
Right.
And
Yes, and I will show them the kind of primer. So
okay.
Okay, so you would do the other one here. And on the side, oops, sorry. The end, because this enables you to get in here and clean it out. You put the other one here, hinges will go here and here, the L hooks will go in there.
Okay.
Okay, so then it's complete. And you can see how I've twisted the L hook. That keeps it from opening. When it's time to clean out the box, you would lower the box down, or if you're an acrobat, climb up in a ladder with your trusty wrench. Grab it, you'll twist it 90 degrees so it's parallel to the slot.
Mhm.
And
Okay. And do you want to go ahead and finish the box while I start the slides, and then that way we'll have time for questions at the end while I'm working on? Okay. So really quickly here, I'm going to switch to my computer. And check that everyone can hear me.
Speaker on the phone.
You still have the speaker on the phone? Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay, muted. All right, great. Does that look good?
Looks
That's
good.
perfect.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, yeah, go ahead. Tom's going to finish the box in the background, so hopefully it won't be too noisy, but we're going to just talk quickly about maintaining the barn owl box. Maybe it is too loud. So now that you built it, when you look at the Nest Watch instructions that Tom showed you, it says it doesn't have to be painted, but it's going to last a lot longer if you paint it. We're going to show you a short video of ours on the property, and it lasts. Here's the.
That's the paint.
Oops, there's the exterior primer paint that he uses. You want it to be white or a light color. And the instructions say that you can use linseed oil, and certainly you can, but as I mentioned, according to the famous woodworker here, this is really going to hold up better if you use this white primer. Don't paint it a dark color, because that's going to absorb heat, and then it's going to get too hot for our little owls.
Don't paint the inside.
Yeah, and don't paint the inside. That's the next one. And then we repaint it as needed. So we've had our box up for about 3.5 years. I'm going to show you a short video in a minute of our box that we just repainted this year. So where are you going to put it? Now, hopefully those of you that are listening have a place near that you're thinking of putting an owl box. It should be near an open field, because the owls, they eat rodents, right? For the most part, they're going to eat small mammals. And you can see this is a, I'm trying to look at the picture, that's our owls that we have on our property. We have a night vision camera. So this is a pair of owls that we took on one of the boxes that Tom built. And if you have a big space, we have 2 boxes on the property that they should be at least 80 yards from each other. And then you want to mount it at least 8 to 25 feet off the ground. We have ours on a pole. You can attach it to a building. You can put it in a tree. But if you put it in a tree, you're more likely to get raccoons or animals that could go in there and get the eggs or get the owlets. So even though Tom said it's not perfect to get it mounted level, it's not easy to get it completely level. You want it to be somewhat level so you don't have your little owlets like sliding off. You know, as you can see, they're on the top of the box and they want to hang out there. The box can open in any direction. We have ours facing north, and that seems to work fine. But in the instructions, it says any direction is fine. And then we add wood shavings to the bottom. And then just one more thing in terms of placement, if they make a lot of noise, if you have a whole brood of owlets, and so you might not want to put it right outside your bedroom window. Just a thought. Let's see, the next slide is coming up. Okay, so this is a really short video of Tom explaining how he installed it.
How to assemble the owl box, and now I'm going to show you a couple things about one way to mount the box. This is one we built, Peggy and I built about 3 years ago, and she's told you about the inhabitants. So what I've done is I've mounted the box on a 8-foot long 4x4 pressure treated post. I have taken some ducting, which you would use for like venting a water heater or something, or for air conditioning. And here it's 6 inches in diameter, so it fits over diagonally across the 4x4 post. And it keeps climbing critters like squirrels and raccoons, because it's a slick surface, keeps them from getting up into the box. Also here, I've sunk in a 4x6 pressure treated post. It's 6 feet long, so it's about 3 feet out of the ground and 3 feet in the ground, and bolted using 10-inch long galvanized 1/2-inch or 5/8 inch bolts with nuts and washers. 2 of them to hold it in place. Now the benefit of this is when we want to lower the box down and clean it out, let's bolt by undoing the nut and then pounding the bolts out, and then we can just lower the box down, set the box, rest it on a sawhorse, open up the access hatches and clean it out. Then it just pivots right back up. That's a lot easier and safer than trying to get up there on a ladder on uneven ground and clean out the box. So those are some tips for mounting the box. There's many different ways to do it, but this is the way we chose. Thank you. So.
Okay, and there was a question about when should you put the box up, and now is the perfect time, because if you look at this nesting
calendar, they're really getting ready to find a nest in February. So the bird box, the Winter Bird Festival was a perfect timing, because if you had built a box with us at the festival, you would be taking it home now and putting it up. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the main nesting time is February, but in California, they could pretty much be nesting year round. I found this one study that said in California, 56% of the pairs produced a second brood. So if their first brood was February to July, as you see on this chart, their second brood might be June or July to October, November. So for that reason, we usually clean our box. We try to have new boxes up in January, early February, and we clean out the boxes in December. So I want to show you a quick 10-second video of this, a male and a female, and I'll let you guess which one is which. Mating, I keep my camera on to see how many owlets I have and to see if the barn owls are accepting the box and using it. So that was, I thought that was a really coup that I got that video, but then I read this great book about barn owls, and it said that they probably mate once an hour at night in order, the male wants to ensure that those eggs are going to be fertilized from him. So if he's going to spend all this time feeding these kids, he wants them to be his. So barn owls, as I mentioned, can have multiple broods, and so we really don't want to disturb them when they're nesting, and they're super sensitive in the beginning of that nesting period. So like the April to May timeframe. So we really don't want to disturb them then. And really, we found December's the best time, but they can roost in there, meaning they can kind of hang out, because they're sleeping during the day and I want to clean the box during the day. So what we do is we scratch on the box or tap it. And if there's an owl in there, hopefully they'll fly off. We also got a camera on a flexible tube that we can stick in the box. And one year there was an owl roosting in there in December and we couldn't clean the box. And I'm going to show you kind of what happens when you can't clean out your box. So try to clean it every year. This is an example. This is a box. I'm opening the small end. You see he mentioned there's hinges on two sides. So you have a big opening you can clean from and a small opening. And there's about 4 inches of debris in there. And it was like concrete. I had to get a chisel and really clean it out. So if you let it go more than a year, it's going to be really hard to clean out sometimes. So clean it out with a trowel and then put in some wood shavings. We got a lot of wood shavings around here. Wear rubber gloves and an N95 mask because there's rodent droppings potentially in there, and that could have hantavirus. So you want to be sure you're not just the active woodworking shop, so that you're not getting any kind of virus from that. So this is my last slide, just to remind you to be responsible nest watchers and nest monitors. And this is the website. Someone had asked about it earlier. It's nestwatch.org from the Cornell lab. And someone else asked about screech owl boxes. You can get information on this website also for many different boxes, including screech owls. And it's also a good place to put your observations. So when I see that I have 4 owlets, I can go in and I can document my nest site. I also do it for bluebirds and our kestrel box. And one thing that I'd like to say, if you're gonna put a box on your property, just commit to monitoring it and minimize the disturbance, like minimize the disturbance to the birds. And then it also to remind you that you're not allowed to handle birds or eggs, even if they're on your property, without a permit. So please just be aware of that. And thank you all for wanting to help out the barn owls. And I think we might have like 2 minutes for some questions.
Wow. Okay. This is Chris, and we're going to skip the questions because we got something else to do. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Peggy.
It sounds like you're in
here.
It sounds like you're in a construction zone or something.
Apparently I am.
Hey, Peggy, drop your screen share.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. I don't know about you, but I really learned a lot, and I can't believe Tom put together a bird box in 20 minutes. It would have taken me half a day to get that thing done. Okay, Peggy, you're going to have to drop the sound off of one of your devices. Okay. So anyway, that's pretty amazing. As Peggy gets her act together, here's what we're going to do. We are going to auction off these boxes, this box. And you just saw it made before your eyes. There is a cost to the materials, and there's time invested in this. And we bought materials to do this, and we're trying to recoup our costs. Now, if you would like to auction, we're going to do that right now, but I'm going to explain how it works. Okay, this is a beautiful box, and it can be yours. It can be on your property. You don't even have to make it. And if you live within, I don't know, they're in the Arroyo Grande area. If you live within, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes or so of Arroyo Grande, you can either pick it up at their house or they will deliver it to you. If you live further than that, the postage would be like $100. So you'll have to think about if you want to bid on this or not. Okay, here's the deal. You can buy one of these online for, I don't know, like $140 if you want to go and just buy one. So if you really want an owl box, $140 is about what it's going to cost you. If you would like to help the Bird Festival, we're going to do a live auction right now. And this is how it works. Go to your chat box right now. Go down to the chat, down to the bottom, click on the little chat box. And then when it says to, I want you to do direct message to me, Chris Cameron. You'll have to scroll around to find me, Chris Cameron. That's who you're going to make your bid with. Okay, have you found it? You ready? Okay, so if you want to make a bid, the minimum bid is going to be $100 because that'll cover the materials and the time. But really, this is a fundraiser for the Morro Bay Bird Festival. So if you want to make a great big giant donation and get a bird box, that's cool too. So what we're going to do is right now, don't hit send yet, but go into the chat box, go find me. So it's going to be a direct message to me, Chris Cameron, not to everyone in the meeting, but direct message to me, and type in your best bid. Okay, once you type in your best bid, in just a second, I'm going to say, everybody send, and then all those things could come at me at the same time. I don't know if we're going to have time to announce the winner or not, because this is going to take a little time to look at it. But I'm going to choose the person who got the first bid in at the highest amount, and that's who's going to get the box. Okay, so in the chat box, find direct to Chris Cameron, type in your highest bid. You get one and only high bid. Ready? Put in your bid. Ready, send. Okay, if I'm looking at it right, Marcel, you just bought yourself an owl box for $160. And so you know where and how to make donations and work that out with Rosemary at the Bird Festival. And then you can pick up your box. I don't know if you know Tom and Peggy, but if you don't, get in touch with me and we will get you contacted so you can get your bird box. Congratulations, Marcel and everybody else. That was awesome. Hey, Tom, I don't know about you, but I think that was just pretty amazing. I can't believe you did that in 20 minutes. That was remarkable. I couldn't even have put in those hinges in 20 minutes. That was amazing. And if you guys want to do bird boxes, owl boxes, kestrel boxes, bluebird boxes in person next year, make donations to the Bird Festival so we can live to bird another day and make this happen in person next year. Okay, everybody, next up, let me see what in the world is next up. Next up is Benjamin Jacob Schwartz, and he's going to be on feathers, and he's going to be on hummingbirds, and it's a double header. So that's going to be starting at the top of the hour. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Tom and Peggy. You did a remarkable job. That was incredible. I'm astounded. And we are going to close the meeting. Everybody jump on out and jump out back in 10 minutes. And we're going to talk about feathers and hummingbirds with Benjamin Jacob Schwartz. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.